Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to take a closer look at some more substantial card protection. So far, we've talked a little bit about this in the form of inner sleeves, penny sleeves, as well as just your typical card sleeve, your deck sleeve. And sometimes all you need is a penny sleeve when you're pulling a card from a pack. You know, you just want to protect it because it's a foil, you don't want it to get scratched or something. Or it can just serve as something temporary until you can get it into a better fitting sleeve or a more protective sleeve. Maybe you prefer a more precise fitting sleeve as you're gonna double sleeve it so that it can be playable in a deck. But sometimes you just need something more substantial for a variety of reasons. But hang tight for 1 second while I just do my due diligence and ask you to leave a like in the video. Make sure that you subscribe so that you can go ahead and be notified when I release a new video. And of course, go ahead and leave a comment below to let me know what additional type of card protector you like to use, if any, for any of your cards and why. Okay, shameless plug over. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here today. So first and foremost, maybe why do we want additional protection, right? I mean, we've got penny sleeves, we've got the perfect fitting sleeves, and we've got the ability to double sleeve, and a lot of us have cards in decks, binders, collection boxes, what have you. Well, I'm sure a lot of you out there already know this, but in case you're kind of newer to trading card games or collecting, or just kind of approaching things more casually, there's a couple things to consider, especially if you're collecting and you want to have your cards displayed somewhere. You're gonna want potentially some additional protection. You don't want cards falling off a wall or a display, getting dinged up, scratched. Granted, your cards could still fall off of whatever they're being displayed on, and it could still slip behind the couch or whatever. Having some sort of a hard case or some sort of additional protection on it will at least hopefully provide a little bit more protection. Additionally, some formats of gameplay in different games, for instance, Magic the Gathering has a format of play called Commander, which lets you pick a card and designate that as your commander, and as such it needs to be set apart from your deck or more easily identifiable. There very well may be other games out there as well, or special conditions or situations in which you would have a card differentiated from the rest of the cards. I'm just not familiar with that yet, so if you've got another good use case for that during gameplay to have it in kind of a hard case, please let me know. So just a quick disclaimer here for me, I do play Commander Magic the Gathering once in a while, and I don't use any of these yet. I bought some of these because I wanted to talk about them for the channel here and figure out what works best for me. So this is just going to be some testing things out for the first time. And also my friends don't use anything like this. They just kind of do the method where you just stick the card face up, sticking out of the deck so you can always identify your commander. They even have it in a different color sleeve so it stands out as well. Maybe after this video, and since I've got quite a bit of them, maybe I could get them to do this. So by no means for casual gameplay on your kitchen table with your friends, whoever it is, do you need to get any additional accessories just to play, but it might be worth considering in case that makes things easier for you. So you know that when I do talk about accessories and things, I like to try to compare things as best as possible. As such, I've just got a few cards here that I'll be taking a look at with these cases. So I've got a couple foils, a couple of non-foils from different card games as well, and for a fit test I'm going to sleeve up accordingly. This card, Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, will be in a perfect fit, clear, sealable Dragon Shield sleeve before it goes into any additional container. This card, Miracle Lord of Bones, will be protected in a Dragon Shield perfect fit clear sleeve, non-sealable. This card, Azumarill, will just be in an UltraPro penny sleeve, and this card, Flotsam Riffraff, will just be in a BCW penny sleeve. The two cards in the perfect fit inner sleeves from Dragon Shield will do a test with double sleeving with these Dragon Shield clear mats as well, which we've seen on the channel previously, a little bit more in depth, and we won't be double sleeving the ones in the penny sleeves because, as we've seen in previous videos and from your own experience, experience probably, you know that penny sleeves don't double sleeve well. So let's look at the lineup here that we've got. So this one right here is just your UltraPro typical top loader here. They call it the Platinum Toploaders. You may have seen a bunch of these in your day, especially growing up. This was kind of the go-to for anything of value. And just to call it out, I've got here these Platinum Toploaders, but I also got these super thick top loaders, and just for fun we'll take a look at that because I don't really have another instance to really show these ones off, so we'll take a look at that as well. We've got this thing that I've never seen and I didn't look into. I got this as a freebie. I ordered some playmats from UltraPro to give as gifts, and they included this thing here as a freebie. This is what they're calling the UltraPro CardPreserver, and it seems to be kind of a hybrid between a sleeve and a hard case, so we'll get a closer look at that here in a moment. Then we've got this UltraPro Mini Snap hard case here. This kind of opens and closes. I feel like this might be the most common that I've seen when people have a commander on the table or something, if they are using some sort of hard case. And then finally we have these slide card cases from Gamegenic. I do like some Gamegenic stuff, so I wanted to check out what they had, and it seemed like it worked a little bit different, so we'll check that out. All right, so let's just get these cards sleeved up so that we can try them out in the hard cases. Alright, so first up, let's just take a look at these UltraPro. This is the Platinum Toploaders. You can see here their claims about it being super strong, cast frame, ultra clear, etc. Gives you the size as well, tells you what size cards it'll hold and the thickness, 35 point. And this is a 25 pack. You can get them in larger packs if you need more. This is just that standard thickness one. For comparison, since we're talking about it now, here we've got the super thick Toploaders, which are going to hold cards up to 130 points, but besides that it's basically the same thing, and these come in smaller packs just because they're thicker. And you can see here the comparison of the size. Here on the left we've got the standard thickness one, and here on the right hand we've got the super thick, and you can see the difference. So here on the left is the standard thickness, here on the right is the super thick. You can see it's a very clear difference, and you could see it in the opening as well. I had to put something solid behind it because I think the reflection was throwing off. But on the left we've got the standard, and on the right we've got the super thick, so just the opening is a lot bigger. So why do I even have these super thick top loaders? Frankly, because I made a mistake when I ordered them initially. I just saw super thick thinking like, you know, they're really protective, but no, it means thick. So yeah, read the descriptions and don't make the mistakes that I make. Don't do what Donnie Don't does. So let's check these out in just the standard thickness top loader here from UltraPro. This card here is going to be the one with the sealable perfect fit Dragon Shield inner sleeves. And see how it's not quite all the way down there. You just grab it from the sides here where it's a little bit more rigid, give it some taps to get it down to the bottom. You can see here got plenty of space on the sides as well, so if you're using a different size sleeve, there you go, and it's nice and clear. You can see it pretty much all around. This will just give you an idea of how much space you've got left over on the side and then along the top there as well, but it keeps the card nice and secure. You can see here as I'm just kind of wiggling it around, it doesn't really slide around or get displaced or anything like that. I think I'm going to knock over things on my desk before this slides out. Even kind of doing it upside down, we're not really getting any movement unless you're tapping it. Then we see that it moves around. To get it out, tap it upside down, get it closer to the opening, carefully put a little pressure to kind of pinch it open, and let's see if we can slide this. And that was just with the inner sleeve. That's not even double sleeved yet. So let's go ahead and just do that. I've got the Dragon Shield clear matte sleeve here. So we got that double sleeve going. Let's get that going in the top loader. And so it definitely provides more resistance to getting the card in there. But there we go. Snug as a bug. Again, that's not going to go ahead. Oh, the whole thing flies out of my hand before the card flies out of the case. There you go. pretty nice. Toss it around with a little bit more confidence. You know, obviously if you have something very valuable, you won't want to be really tossing it around willy-nilly. And just for comparison, like I said, for kicks, we got one of the super thick ones here. I'm gonna leave it double sleeved, and boom, you can see that it just slides, completely falls in, falls out. So this one's gonna have a lot of wiggle room. You could even kind of hear that rattling around. So this isn't really going to be super protective here. And I did want to just highlight it, like I said, for kicks, because don't do what I did. Don't make the mistake and get the super thick ones. Be sure that you get the correct sizing for what you want. If you've got a thicker card of some sort, like I said, I don't know all the cards that are out there and all the specifications, then maybe the super thick ones work. Or if you're gonna, you know, for some reason you want to just, we're just gonna put these back to back. It does fit there pretty easily, but even then it's pretty easy for the stuff to kind of slide out. So again, maybe it's one of those things where if you're getting a couple of nicer cards that you want to protect just temporarily in the moment, maybe you keep one of these around in some penny sleeves or whatever the case is, just to have something to toss it into and keep it a little bit more protected. I don't know, your mileage may vary. I would probably just stick with the typical thickness top loaders if you're going with these type. But just as I like to do, I'm gonna try the other cards in their inner sleeves with the standard UltraPro top loader. I'm sorry, they call it the Platinum top loader. This card has just the Dragon Shield perfect fit inner sleeve. It's not sealable, so it fits pretty much the same. Maybe a tad less snug because it doesn't have the extra layer that the sealable ones did, but seems to stay put well enough if I'm shaking it upside down. So let's give this one a go, double sleeved. These can be a little tricky to get the card into. You know, you could just kind of pry it open, or there's a little gap, might be hard to see, toward the corner, and you could just kind of take the corner of your card and sort of just thread it in there. This is a little bit of a snugger fit too, because this card is a foil, so it has a little bit more of a curl to it than my non-foil over here. Stays nice and snug, leaves your hand before it leaves the actual protective case. And let's move on to the penny sleeves and see how those fare. All right, so this one is just the UltraPro penny sleeve. So we got UltraPro and UltraPro here. This is going to slide in just a little bit easier. The penny sleeves are not as thick as the perfect fit ones from Dragon Shield. They're a little bit thinner material, at least the ones from UltraPro here. Shake test here. Again, staying put. Let's give this a shot. Double sleeved now. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we can't double sleeve these. So there you go, that's it. Let's try the BCW penny sleeve, and just something to notice, the penny sleeve from BCW is a little bit wider than the one from UltraPro here. So let's see how that fares. But nice, that went smoothly, so we don't get a bunch of crinkled sleeve in there. Shake test, it stays in place, so we're pretty good there as well. And again, the BCW penny sleeves also won't double sleeve because they're just too wide, too much sleeve. So that's the UltraPro top loaders. Let's take a look at the next one. So this one I'm curious about. I've never seen one of these in action. I actually kind of avoided reading up on it once I got it, just because I wanted to be a little bit surprised. So this is what UltraPro is calling the CardPreserver, and it's specified for 35-point cards. So just like the top loader from UltraPro, it claims to be the first of its kind. And here on the back, it says it's 720 degrees of protection. I wonder how that goes, right? Because you have the front, you go around all the way to the top of the back, that's going to be 360 degrees if it seals, right? If you came back around, then that's going to be 720 degrees. So I guess, wait, that math doesn't add up. That would be 540. I've always been bad at math, which is why I never really got into Yu-Gi-Oh! But I'm probably going to explore it at some point on this channel. So let's figure out what this 720 degrees of protection is. It says it's got a soft front and a rigid back, so it's like a 2-in-1 thing, and it claims to be archival safe. So let's take a look here. Oh, we get more than one. I thought this was gonna be one. All right, cool. We got a few of them here. First impressions here. Very interesting. This is, God, how would I describe this? So just for comparison, here we've got it next to this double-sleeved card. I tried, but it's really hard to get it to focus on the edge. It's thicker than the double-sleeved card itself. You can kind of see that there, but it's not quite as thick as the top loader. You can kind of see that here, the top loader on the right. It's got more flexibility to it for sure. This little flap here actually is pretty flexible. It's pretty thin compared to the rest of the actual case. I don't know if you could kind of hear that versus that. The front side of it's a bit more flexible. You can kind of see that right there, while the back side is the one that's a bit more rigid. And it looks like we've got this little adhesive strip here that's going to be what keeps it sealed. So let's go ahead and throw a card in there. So here we've got the sealable Dragon Shield inner sleeve just by itself. Nice and smooth. And we're just gonna peel this little adhesive strip thing and seal. And it's even got a little UltraPro kind of etching or emboss or engraving, whatever you call it there. Oh, and also it's patent pending. I want you to know that. So we've got a sealed card, sealed inner sleeve inside of this sealed card preserver. So we've got the front face protected twice, back side protected 3 times actually. All right, shake test. So it does wiggle around here. We got it near the top. Let's see, I'm just kind of shaking it in the air, and we're back down to the bottom. It moves side to side as well. So it's got a lot of wiggle room here with just the inner sleeve, but it is nice and readable here, and it's pretty thin. Let's go ahead and try it double sleeved. The question is, how reusable are these adhesive strips? Can I just keep changing these out as many times as I want? Guess we'll find out, because I'm gonna give it a few shots here. So we've got this double sleeved, and now essentially we've got it triple sleeved here. And let's just seal that up. There we go. So even through 3 layers there, it's still pretty clear. That's nice. Shake test. See if it'll go to the top. It slid a little bit toward the top to the bottom. Yep, a little bit toward the bottom there. Side. Yep, it does still shift around. And that's that I'm using the sealable inner sleeve, so it's a lot more snug. But it does feel nice and substantial. It's got a nice feel to it. You know what this kind of reminds me of? The thickness of it and kind of the pliability that it has, but with the semi-rigidness, is those like plastic folders that you would get, like a plastic folio. It's not super floppy, so not like something you just have like in a binder that you get for 50 cents, but kind of one of those like things that's got a button that snaps closed. Maybe that's where you keep some important documents. It's kind of a little bit translucent, or like a really thick divider. That sort of a feel, that sort of a vibe. It's got a very kind of stationary office supply envelope, important document saver type of vibe to it. So let's give it a shot with just the regular perfect fit inner sleeve from Dragon Shield, non-sealable. And again, shake test. Slide around to the right, to the left, to the top, to the bottom. So this one does provide a little bit more play. Let's get this double sleeve. Does slide around a little bit just as expected, even double sleeved. The nice thing is, even though this is essentially triple sleeved, the foil still comes through pretty nicely, and that's this card in particular. The foil treatment is a little bit less in your face. And sorry, my dog is whining there. Give me a moment. So it still does allow the foil to come through nicely. Let's get going here with the UltraPro penny sleeve. In there, sealed. All right, you can kind of see a little bit on the back here, at least in person, how the adhesive looks like. You know, it's starting to give a little bit, but it's still still staying shut there. So that's good. Obviously, I think the shake test, it's gonna move around here a little bit. You can see it's moving just a tad. Might have a little bit less wiggle room with the penny sleeve being a bit wider. Yeah, it's got this foil looking nice. check out the BCW, round this one out. Oh, one thing that they did is kind of nice. They didn't put the adhesive strip up here. They did it on the back of the rigid piece, so that way you're not going to accidentally stick your card to it. Air shake, so it does move around. You can see here it's sliding around the case, but everything is nice and legible. And just for comparison, we've also got the top loader here next to the card preserver. So top loader on the right, card preserver on the left. I've got them lined up on the bottom edge. They're about the same dimension, just slightly off here, not too crazy. You see kind of a little bit of that blue tint, and here you've got it more clear, so that's really nice too. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the adhesive strip on the back holds up to repeated opening and closing. Just for kicks, let's throw an unsleeved card in there. Why not? This one sliding all about. So that's the UltraPro CardPreserver. I'd be interested to compare this a little bit further, maybe some more real life tests here. Okay, so next here we've got the UltraPro Mini Snap. I don't know if it's acrylic or what the exact thing is, but it says here, oh, it doesn't give us any info. It's just trying to get us to buy other things here. It says no PVC, acid free, it's stackable, snap and lock, holds standard size cards, and is ultra clear. Also, it does not include the card of this generic NPC of a catcher. This just has a little indentation here on one side. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, it's not hinged or anything. It just completely comes apart. This cover here, don't know. Well, it looks like it's the same on both sides. Might be hard to see on the camera. It's got a little cutout there. So here we've just got the inner sleeve sealable. We're just gonna set that on here. And I think this one with the raised edges is gonna be the bottom. This larger flat piece will be the top. See if I can figure out how to just snap this together. Did I do it? Didn't hear it snap. All right, so that's sealed, and you can't, I don't know how well you could see it here. Maybe if you look here at the back edge, but there's kind of this little lip. You kind of hear my nail catching it there, but the nice thing there, I think that's the stackable, and yeah, on the back it's a little bit recessed, so I think the idea there is you can stack them up. I think they do have these type of hard cases as well that are a little bit more like a hinge. It opens up kind of like a book, and it's got a little snap thing on the side, but I guess that's not the one that I got, which is cool because this works a little bit differently than I thought it was gonna. So first impression here is that it it's definitely a little bit more form-fitting in terms of the dimensions of the card here, so I don't think this is going to work with a double sleeved, and I don't know that it'll work with a penny sleeve either, honestly. We'll try it out. I do think that just because of the low profile of the actual case itself, it's not very deep, so you really want to make sure that you have the card in before you start putting the lid on there, the top part, otherwise you're going to be pinching on the edges of your card and you could damage it. But I do like how solid it really is, so I think this is going to take the most impact abuse just from things coming in contact with it, and then again, it's not sliding around a ton in there, which is pretty nice. But let's give it a little drop test. Why not move these other cards out of the way? Just gonna kind of drop it. This is, I don't know, maybe a foot and a half. Bad at distances. I kind of dropped it on the edge, on the corner there, to see if it would pop open, and it doesn't. Nope. 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 All right, there we go. On that last one, we got it to pop open there. Yeah, it's got just a little bit of clearance there. Come on, get out of there. So again, you just gotta see like right there, it actually wasn't all the way down. Let's get this sealed back up. I want to see how easy it is to open this, not on accident. There we go, sealed. Got a little indentation there. So it's not horribly difficult to open up, but it does kind of cling to the back there, so you gotta shake that out. This is the double sleeved one. Again, I don't really, yeah, that's not even making any clearance there. It could be the brand of the deck sleeve. I mean, I could probably force that to just barely fit, but you can kind of see it's bowing the card a little bit. You can see it kind of bubbling up there. Let's just, why not? Does not want to seal. Let's try the Gamegenic one that I have here. Yeah, it is not fitting on the bottom side of it, the back side of it. And just for kicks, I got an UltraPro deck sleeve here. So let's try that out. See if the UltraPro deck sleeve works inside of this. It appears to maybe fit. Not quite, actually. Just barely kind of overlaps the edge there. So I'm not going to go ahead and risk it. And I understand their intention may not have been when they created this to specifically be used with cards with like a deck sleeve or anything. So let's just try again. Their own penny sleeve here does not fit in there. You see it overlaps. And then the BCW penny sleeve, no, it still overlaps. It's also a little bit too wide. So if you're using these UltraPro mini snaps, you'll need to use kind of like a perfect fit, precise fit sleeves. And then obviously if you have something that is unsleeved, that'll go in there too. And again, for kicks, here is an unsleeved, does kind of rattle around in there. That's the UltraPro mini snap. Alright, and finally here we've got these Gamegenic slide card cases. They say it's a premium hard shell, standard size card holder with a slide locking mechanism. They're saying that it's also got UV protection, so this may be nice if you're going to have your card displayed somewhere where it's going to be getting more of that light, or if you're going to be playing maybe outdoors or something like that. I guess it depends on under what intensity of light you play. And it gives us a little bit of info here on the side about the card case itself, saying that, yep, it's that innovative slide lock mechanism, and it'll hold up to a 68 by 94 millimeter standard card size, even with inner sleeves. It does have a little asterisk there, which says it's optimized for Gamegenic sleeves. Sleeves from other brands may affect capacity and compatibility. Apparently they are also easily stackable and acid free, no PVC as well. So let's check this out. All right, so from this 12 pack, I'm just pulling one here. So the way that this works, so it does come completely apart, and there's a little track there that you've got to kind of slide the top and bottom into. There we go. And once it's closed, you hear that a little bit. It's securely closed. I mean, you can see it here. I'm trying it. If I kind of get it from the edge here and just kind of lightly push, it does come open pretty easy. But if I've kind of got more of like an actual hold of it and I'm sliding back and forth, it doesn't open up. You got to kind of push it open, but it does kind of latch somewhat. So let's try this out here with a card. All right, so we've just got our sealable Dragon Shield inner sleeve here. And did not get that on the track. Let's try it again. Set this down to do it. So it's going, but something to note is that it is kind of getting the inner sleeve on the way. You see there how it kind of pulled it a little bit. That's latched. And you could see a little bit of that ripple of the inner sleeve in there, probably because it's putting a little bit of pressure on it. Okay, but we've got that open. Actually, I think I've got the card in here upside down. There we go, because it's got the ridge on the top for the stacking purposes. There we go, that goes a little bit easier. And just for comparison here to a top loader from UltraPro, it's gonna be a little bit thicker than that, but if we compare it to the mini snap from UltraPro, it's basically the same thickness, but instead of just coming apart top and bottom, it's just sliding for you there. All right, so we can see that it's not really got any wiggle room on the side, so the shake test isn't really gonna do much here, but let's go ahead and do a little drop test here. Stay closed. So we got it to pop open here. Even so, it still kept the case on it. It just opened up a little bit, but that was a little bit more secure. It's funny because of how simple or how easy it can be to just kind of slide it open like that with a little bit of pressure. I had a lot of worry that it would just pop open really easily, but it looks like that is accounted for with the sliding mechanism. It does keep it together nicely, so that's pretty nice. Here we've got the Dragon Shield Perfect Fit non-sealable. It does also fit pretty nicely in there as well. It does seem actually that this seems to be sliding open a lot easier now. I'm kind of giving it a shake just to see if that'll slide open. But it's hard to get a good grip of it. There we go. Okay, and just as a comparison, we'll try again that sealable inner. There we go. You're able to kind of shake them open like that. Now I've got it to where it didn't want to open up. I don't think, yep, these penny sleeves, whether it's the BCW or the UltraPros, they're not gonna fit within the boundaries of the card case itself. So we're just ruling those out. And here we've just got an unsleeved card for comparison. And that does have a little bit of rattle to it there. So we'll see if it's affected at all. So it does pop open a little bit. Yep, it's popping open. So I wonder if the inner sleeves that maybe we had on it the first time, even though it did kind of pop open that one time there, but if that put a little bit more pressure and just kept it sealed a little bit better, it could be that, or maybe this one was just tired of being dropped so much and maybe another new one would stay sealed longer. I'm not even going to try with the double sleeve here with a deck sleeve. That's just going to be too wide or too tall or whatever the case is. It's going to affect the seal. All right, and that about wraps it up. So just some closing thoughts on what we've seen here today. Your mileage is going to vary depending on how you're sleeving your cards and what type of protection you're looking for, etc. Anything that's using penny sleeves, if you're just planning to do that for a little bit of extra protection, you're going to need to go with a top loader or with the UltraPro CardPreserver. Obviously, you're not limited to just these products here as well. There's other brands, there's other things. These just happen to be the ones that I was able to do this video on. That's going to go for any sort of double sleeving as well with your deck sleeves, if you're going to use these sleeved up twice, because they just don't fit double sleeved inside of these harder cases. If you're sticking to just inner sleeves with the more perfect fit or precise fit sleeves that are made for double sleeving, or you are going with unsleeved cards of some sort, then you can look at these types of harder cases that we see here. And you know what? One quick last test. Why not? Let's just do a quick test. Just got like a typical plastic cheap deck box that you would get. This one's UltraPro. You just buy the packs of them, pretty cheap. But I just want to see what fits where. So the top loader is not really going to fit inside one of these. You have to have it at an angle. The CardPreserver, same thing. You've got it at an angle. It's not really fitting nicely there. The mini snap from UltraPro actually does fit in a typical cheap little flexible plastic deck box here. And the Gamegenic slide case also, it's gonna fit in there. So I think how you plan to use these will also factor in. If you are planning to use these types of additional protection cases for cards that are going to be put in a typical deck box, then you're also going to be limited to these harder cases that we see here on the left side of the screen. Whereas if you're going to be saving your cards somewhere else, maybe it's more collection, or you don't mind carrying the cards somewhere on the side, maybe you don't want it in the deck box but you want it somewhere else, then you could use these two that are on the right side of the screen, the CardPreserver and the Toploaders. So what do I like and what do I not like, or what could be different about these particular cases that we've got here? Starting with the UltraPro Platinum Toploaders, what I like is that they do offer a nice bit of protection. They're semi-rigid, so you know, it's got a little bit of flexibility. I'm not wild about that in general. I mean, generally I would prefer my cards to not have a possibility to bend, though you would need to have some sort of a force that really is enacting some sort of bending on it. It does protect against things things like scratching and abrasion, things of that sort. And I do like that, at least out of the packaging, without having been in use for very long, it is a snug fit. So if you do have your card in there even sleeved with just an inner sleeve, it's not sliding around a ton, it's staying in place. And if you do double sleeve, it's going to go ahead and stay in place. That same snugness can be a detriment when you want to remove the card. It does mean you'll have to kind of really, tap it out to the edge, and then you're trying to open up the outer case here, the top loader, and try not to damage your card or bend your card and stuff. So that is something that you'll want to consider. Maybe this is the type of case that you would use if you're not planning to be adding and removing the card often. But a huge bonus to it is it does allow you to use a double sleeve, like a deck sleeve as well. Have not tried outer sleeves, what people use for triple sleeving yet. Maybe we'll look at that in another video. And this is kind of a silly thing. If you're using it for playing, especially, like I mentioned, my friends, they don't use any type of additional protective case. They identify their commander cards by using a different color sleeve than the rest of their deck. Pretty simple fix to that right there. Just a very easy way to identify it. I know that for one of my friends, that must drive him kind of nuts that he's got one card related to the deck that is not matching the rest of the sleeves. So the top loader allows you to keep that same color scheme going, but still differentiate it and have it be like no confusion. It's not going to get shuffled into the deck or anything like that. The UltraPro CardPreserver, I like that it offers more protection than a typical card sleeve, deck sleeve, what have you. I like that it does function with double sleeving as well. So the same benefits that I mentioned with the top loader are nice here. You get to see the color of the sleeves that maybe you paid a lot of money for. I like the lower profile of it as well. So it's nice and thin. It's not going to add a ton of bulk there. And you know me, I like something that seals. It is flexible. That is something to consider. This one is more flexible than the top loader itself. Again, you run that risk. I do think it's going to keep your card secure even more than this because of the snugness of this. It kept from bouncing around. But this with the actual sealable thing, the card's probably not going to fly out of there accidentally if you were to drop it or anything of the sort. The adhesive strip here is the one thing that kind of concerns me. I can already feel it's just a little bit less tacky from opening it, closing it, touching it with my finger, all that. And because the front is a little bit more pliable and soft, it's not going to be as protective against something heavier or sharper maybe running across it, maybe like a die or something like that, a pen. It'd be interesting to see how well this would work as kind of like a dry erase, and maybe even the top loader too, so I'll have to try that out maybe. But yeah, I am concerned that just over time this adhesive strip will wear out, and because the front is kind of more like a card sleeve, like a thick card sleeve, I wonder how rippable it actually is, if this will come apart over time. And you know what, let's just try it out. I kind of said in the past I don't do a ton of like stress tests and stuff, but let's just see. This is something different. Got a couple more, so let's just see. Yeah, so that popped open pretty easy right there. So something to keep in mind. Obviously, you're probably not just ripping them open like that, but maybe over time when you're peeling and unpeeling, that could just kind of put enough stress on it to where it starts to come off at the corner there. See, this one's kind of coming off, but I'm really trying it, and also that could be because I busted open the other side. But it could be a nice low profile way to add a little bit extra protection. That would be my concern here, is just the durability. You could see where you might just easily pull that a little too quickly and rip it there. The UltraPro Mini Snap, it is solid right here. You can hear that. Apparently it's stackable. I didn't get to try that out because I only had one of these, and it weathered a couple drops pretty well. I like that it's fairly easy to open without a lot of strength needed to like really pry it open, and same thing, you don't need a ton of strength to really secure that. The things that I don't like about it, or I wish were different, is that when it does secure close, I wish there was more of a snap. It's called a mini snap and there's no snapping sound. I know that's probably just talking about the actual mechanism, and it might technically snap, but it'd be nice to kind of have that indicator when you were to close it and seal it. that it is snapped shut. You kind of get a little pop when it opens. It'd be nice to have something similar upon closing. I wish that maybe there was a little bit of a different design or something to indicate what the back part or bottom part of the case is versus the top, which is the inside of the case versus the outside. As you saw, I sometimes had it the other way around or had this upside down, so that'd be cool if they had some sort of indicator to make that a little bit more apparent to me. But other than that, I could see why this would be attractive for people to use for like their commander or something like that. It'd be cool if they had something like this, and maybe they do. Maybe I just gotta do my research, but I'd like to see something like this that does fit a double-sleeved card as well. And I do like that it's fairly low profile and does fit inside a typical deck box, so no need to keep that anywhere separate. And finally, for the Gamegenic slide card case. So I'll start by saying I really like a lot of what Gamegenic makes. I have a few of their card storage boxes, some of their folios, and I even have some sleeves from them as well, although I don't use those for much else than just protecting cards that might go in a folio. That's another thing too. Look, I just dropped that on this card preserver and it did kind of indent there. Something to note. I like the idea of the sliding mechanism, but does give you the ability to just kind of open up like that completely. I do like that this one has more of a click when it closes there, so that tells you that it's latched. I do feel that the sliding mechanism sometimes is a little bit finicky. If I'm pushing it here from the side where it latches, it's not really opening. If I'm kind of pulling it here from the other side, it's opening. But if I just move my fingers a little bit and do it from the center there, you know, if I do it from the corners, it will. It does it from these corners up here. So I wish it was a little bit more uniform in the circumstances under which it would open. Maybe that's on me. Maybe, you know, there is a like, well, duh, always use the corner. Never use that unless you want to open it. But when you're going over the center, for sure, it seems like it's a little bit harder to open that. But the same criticisms that I had on the UltraPro Mini Snap, I do wish that the top or front face as well as the back or bottom face of this case were a little bit more clearly defined so you know what's what. It can be a little bit hard if you take the thing apart to line up the track again. In some cases, sometimes you can get it pretty easy. Let's see, like that time I didn't. This kind of feels like one of those infomercials, you know? But I do think just a little bit more clarity or direction with just kind of ease to consistently open, consistently keep it latched, something to differentiate top and bottom. And it's got this little line on the back here, or I'm sorry, it's on the front, on the inside of the front face. I don't know if you can see that there. Maybe that's to indicate this is the front and that's the top or something like that, the front top of it. But even then I could see a scenario where you might have that correct and then have the other one upside down or flipped around or something like that. This one does have a single notch on the one side, so you can use that to kind of match it up as well. Also, my concern here is that just with time, like what just happened there where it just kind of popped open, with time, does that latching mechanism become a little bit looser? Is it a little bit less secure maybe than the other mini snap? This one seemed to withstand a little bit more of the drop test, but again, I wonder if that is simply because, as I mentioned, some of the inner sleeves here made it feel like it was a little bit more snug to slide it closed. So perhaps it's a little bit less secure. I'll have to test that out a little bit more maybe. And these do claim to have UV protection though, so that'll be kind of neat if they do have that. And I wonder how strong that is and really how long that lasts and how much protection it really offers. I've got a good window over here that gets a lot of sunlight, so maybe this is something I can test out. I can throw a couple of cards inside of these and test out the UV protection claim that Gamegenic has on their slide cases. So yeah, so I don't know, follow on like Instagram or TikTok, or just keep an eye here on the channel as well, and maybe we'll get some shorts up or stories or something that'll kind of show this progress, or like a before and after type of scenario. So with all that said, I'd like to say thank you for checking out this video. As always, I really appreciate you just kind of spending time with me as I explore some different things inside the wonderful world of trading card games and their accessories. The videos that have gotten the most views and engagement that I've posted have been the ones related to like the card sleeves and things of that nature, so I figured this would be something that y'all would enjoy. If that was the case, please go ahead and leave a like for the video. Be sure to subscribe to get updated when I post a new video. And of course, be sure to leave a comment and share your thoughts on these options here. Again, these are just the ones that I tested, so there's plenty other options out there. But have you used any of these four? Which do you like? Are there other options that you use? How do you use them? Do you use different cases for different purposes? Do you use something for collection versus for playing in an actual game or for storage? Or did you go like full out and get these stackable ones and just get a full set of like 60 or 100 of them and have like a massive deck that's like 3 feet tall or something to that effect? I know I've seen some people just kind of, you know, using some stuff like that. Probably not in practicality, just for actual laughs and stuff. But I'm curious, which ones do you like? Have you had experiences? What do you prefer? And with that, thank you once again for watching. As always, get out there and play/collect some trading card games with your friends, family, whoever it is. Enjoy and protect your cards, of course. See ya.